He entered the auction for fun, but accidentally bought the most beautiful alien queen. Sarsik Madsen slouched against the ornate column, watching Nexus Station's elite fawn over overpriced trinkets. His silver jacket, once the height of Martian fashion, now hung loosely on his frame after months of traversing the outer rim. The auction room sparkled with holographic displays, showcasing artifacts from across the galaxy to buyers who had more credits than sense. Lot 76, a genuine Terran painting from the 21st century, announced the auctioneer, a slender Aurelian with translucent skin. Bidding starts at 50,000 credits. Rake stifled a yawn. He'd docked at Nexus for supplies, not to waste credits on antiques. But the legendary Horizon auction had always intrigued him, an event where anything in the universe could be bought for the right price. Next, Lot 77. The auctioneer's voice dropped to a dramatic whisper, a rare biological specimen in cryostasis, recovered from the Veil Nebula. The room hushed as assistants wheeled in an obsidian capsule. Frost clung to its surface, obscuring whatever lay within. Rake straightened. Curiosity piqued despite himself. Rumored to be the last of its kind, continued the auctioneer. Bidding begins at 1 million credits, the crowd murmured. Even for Nexus, that was steep for an unknown entity. Rake snorted and raised his hand to adjust his collar just as the auctioneer scanned the room. 1 million to the gentleman in silver. Do I hear 1.5? Rake's blood froze. Wait, I didn't. 1.5 from Lady Shin. 2 million? Rake lowered his hand immediately, but the damage was done. He'd been registered as a bidder when he entered. That casual gesture had been interpreted as a bid. Going once for Lady Shin at 1.5 million. Something about the capsule called to him. A strange impulse seized Rake, something he hadn't felt since leaving Earth years ago. Curiosity. 2 million. He heard himself say. The room turned to stare. Who was this disheveled merchant interrupting their refined proceeding? Sold to the gentleman in silver for 2 million credits. Reality crashed down on Rake. He'd just spent his ship's entire upgrade fund on what exactly? As attendants guided him to the processing area, cold dread pooled in his stomach. Congratulations on your acquisition, sir, a staff member said, scanning his credit chip. Where shall we deliver your property? Rake gazed at the capsule. Through the clearing frost, he glimpsed a silhouette, unmistakably humanoid. What have I done? He whispered to himself, as the transaction completed with a soft chime. What have I bought? The loading dock of Rake's ship, the Wanderlust, barely accommodated the obsidian capsule. After the auction staff departed, Rake circled the mysterious container, running his fingers along its smooth surface. Strange symbols illuminated beneath his touch, pulsing with an ethereal violet glow. Ship, analyze capsule composition, Rake commanded. Analysis complete, responded the ship's AI. Outer shell, unknown alloy. Interior, contains life support systems maintaining stable biometrics. Warning, tampering may trigger automatic revival sequence. Rake hesitated. Is the occupant sentient? Before the AI could respond, the symbols flashed brilliantly. The capsule's seams hissed, releasing vapor that smelled of distant stars and ancient technology. The obsidian shell parted like unfurling petals, revealing its occupant. She floated in suspension, her purple skin luminescent against the darkness. Raven black hair swirled around her as if underwater, framing features both alien and breathtakingly beautiful. Her closed eyes fluttered, golden lashes trembling as the stasis field dissipated. The woman collapsed forward. Rake caught her instinctively, surprised by her lightness despite her height. Her skin felt like velvet against his, warm and vibrant with life. Golden eyes snapped open, piercing and fierce. In one fluid motion, she shoved him away with unexpected strength, sending him sprawling across the deck. Who dares to purchase Nihilith, last queen of Zatari? Her voice resonated with musical undertones, melodic even in fury. Her black hair settled around her shoulders as she stood to her full height, nearly matching Rake's 6 feet. I'm Rake Madsen, he said, keeping his distance. This is my ship, the Wanderlust. And I didn't mean to buy you. Nihilith's golden eyes narrowed. Yet here I am, transferred from one captor to another. She surveyed the cargo hold with disdain. At least the Syndicate's prison had windows. You're not a prisoner, Rake insisted. It was a misunderstanding. I accidentally bid on your capsule. She laughed bitterly, the sound like crystal chimes. 2 million credits spent by accident? Do you think me naive after centuries in stasis? Rake noticed markings along her arms, intricate patterns that seemed to shimmer beneath her purple skin. She caught his gaze and pulled a tattered sleeve over them. I can take you wherever you want to go, he offered. You're free. Freedom? Nylith whispered, her voice suddenly vulnerable. I haven't known freedom since the ship's alarm blared, cutting her off. Warning, announced the AI. Unidentified vessel requesting emergency docking, scanning. Weapons detected, Nylith's expression darkened. The Syndicate never lets go of what they consider theirs. She stepped toward Rake, eyes glowing with intensity. They've come for me, Merchant. What will you do now? Ship, initiate emergency departure protocols. Deny docking request, Rake commanded, rushing to the cockpit with Nylith following cautiously behind. The view screen revealed a menacing black cruiser bearing the insignia of the Galactic Syndicate, its weapon systems locking onto the Wanderlust. Your little ship cannot outrun a Syndicate cruiser, Nylith said, her voice oddly calm. The comm system crackled. Attention, merchant vessel. You have acquired stolen Syndicate property. Power down and prepare for boarding. Rake's fingers flew across the controls. I'm no smuggler, but I know a few tricks. The Wanderlust's engines hummed to life. Strap in, Your Majesty. This might get rough. Nylith gracefully slid into the co-pilot's seat. You would defy the Syndicate for someone you just met. I paid good money for you, he grinned, attempting humor despite the dire situation. Besides, nobody should be property. The Wanderlust lurched forward, diving beneath Nexus Station's docking rings. The Syndicate cruiser fired, grazing their shields. The cabin shuddered violently. They're disabling shots, Nylith observed. They want me intact. Rake navigated through the crowded spaceport, using larger vessels as cover. Any chance you could use some royal influence to call them off? My people vanished centuries ago. The Syndicate sees me only as a valuable specimen, the last of my kind. Her voice held ancient sorrow. My abilities, however. Nylith closed her golden eyes. The markings on her arms brightened beneath her sleeves. Suddenly, the pursuing cruiser veered sharply off course as if its navigation systems had malfunctioned. What did you just... Psychic suggestion, she explained, swaying slightly with exhaustion. It won't hold them long. Their minds are well shielded. True to her word, the cruiser corrected its course, now joined by two smaller pursuit vessels. Rake spotted a dense asteroid field ahead, the remains of a shattered moon. Hold on, he warned, plunging the Wanderlust into the swirling debris. Nylith clutched her seat as they weaved between massive rocks. One pursuer wasn't so fortunate, clipping an asteroid and spiraling away in flames. The cruiser held back, too large to follow, but the remaining hunter stayed close. There, Nylith pointed to a particularly dense cluster. The radiation from those red stones will mask our signature. Rake shot her a surprised glance but followed her suggestion, navigating into the crimson-tinged field. The pursuer hesitated, then followed. They're still coming, Rake muttered. Nylith unfastened her restraints and stood. Get us behind the largest asteroid. When they were momentarily hidden, she placed her palms against the view screen. Her hair lifted as if caught in an invisible current. Black waves flowing around her purple features, now intense with concentration. The nearest asteroids trembled, then shot toward the pursuing vessel like magnetized projectiles. The hunter ship erupted in silent explosions, debris scattering across the void. Nylith collapsed. Rake caught her, feeling her tremble against him. I haven't used such power since before my capture, she whispered. Their eyes met. For an instant, the Queen's regal mask slipped, revealing vulnerability and something more. Perhaps gratitude. Let's get out of here, Rake said softly, still holding her. I know a place where we can lay low while you recover. Nylith nodded, not pulling away from his support as the Wanderlust slipped deeper into the stars, leaving Nexus Station and its dangers far behind. 3 days into their journey toward the remote outpost of Caldera, the Wanderlust drifted through the phosphorescent clouds of the Cerulean Nebula. Rake found Nylith in the observation deck, her purple fingers tracing patterns in the condensation on the viewport glass. Her black hair cascaded down her back, reflecting the blue-green glow from outside. The stars have shifted, she said without turning. Constellations I once knew are gone. Rake approached carefully, setting down a tray of synthesized food. How long were you in stasis? 417 years according to your ship's calculations. Her golden eyes reflected the nebula's light. My civilization fell centuries ago to the Syndicate. I was collected during the final siege of our homeworld. Rake's breath caught. I'm sorry. Your pity changes nothing, she replied, but her tone lacked its earlier sharpness. When she finally turned to face him, Rake noticed a raw, infected wound on her shoulder where a stasis connector had been roughly removed. Without thinking, he reached toward it. Nyleth flinched away. Do not touch me. That needs treatment, Rake insisted. It's getting worse. After a tense moment, she relented with a regal nod. Rake retrieved a medical kit and gently applied healing gel to her purple skin. The intimacy of the moment wasn't lost on either of them. On my world, she said quietly, only family or lovers would be permitted such contact with the royal body. Rake's hand stilled momentarily before continuing his ministrations. Consider it payment for saving our lives in the asteroid field. A hint of a smile touched her lips. A fair exchange. Over the following days, their initial wariness evolved into cautious friendship. Rake taught Nyleth about the current state of the galaxy, political factions, technological advancements, and safe havens for those avoiding attention. In turn, she revealed fragments of Zitari culture, their psychic abilities, their symbiotic relationship with technology, their belief in stellar consciousness. One evening, as Rake was showing her how to operate the ship's systems, their hands brushed. A jolt of electricity seemed to pass between them, and suddenly Rake could feel echoes of her emotions, loneliness, determination, and something warmer directed at him. Sorry, she whispered, withdrawing. My barriers weaken when I'm comfortable. I don't mind, he said, surprising himself with the truth of it. That night, the ship's proximity alert woke them. A Syndicate scout had picked up their trail. As they rushed to prepare for another escape, Nyleth grabbed Rake's arm. Why do you continue to risk everything for me? You could surrender me and regain your freedom. Rake looked into her golden eyes, seeing not just an alien queen, but a woman who had endured centuries of isolation. Maybe I prefer the company. Before they reached the cockpit, Nyleth pressed her lips to his, an impulsive gesture that lasted only seconds but left Rake's mind buzzing with lingering psychic warmth. For luck, she said, her purple cheeks darkening with what he realized was a blush. Now let us hope your piloting skills remain as impressive as before. Destiny unveiled caldera loomed before them, a tiny moon orbiting a gas giant, its surface pockmarked with abandoned mining operations. After evading the Syndicate scout, they'd taken a circuitous route, jumping through 3 different systems to ensure they weren't followed. It's not much to look at, Rake apologized as they landed near a derelict outpost, but the residual radiation from the mines confuses scanners. We'll be safe here. As they exited the ship, Nyleth suddenly froze. Her eyes widened, head tilting as if listening to an inaudible frequency. Nyleth? Rake touched her shoulder. It's here, she whispered, her voice filled with wonder. After all this time? She began walking with purpose across the dusty surface, following something only she could sense. Rake followed, confused but trusting. They approached what appeared to be a solid rock face, unremarkable except for its smoothness. Nyleth placed her palm against the stone. The markings on her arms glowed brilliantly, extending up to her face where similar patterns emerged beneath her purple skin. The rock face shimmered and dissolved, revealing a massive cavern. Inside, suspended in a time-lock field, floated an enormous vessel of sleek design, unlike anything Rake had ever seen. Its surface rippled with the same patterns that adorned Nyleth's skin. The Starweaver, she breathed. My royal flagship. I sent it away before my capture, programmed to hide until a Zitari with royal blood called it home. Rake stared in awe. It's been waiting for you all this time? As I have been waiting for freedom. She turned to him, her expression vulnerable. With this ship I could rebuild, find survivors, perhaps even reclaim what was taken from my people. The Syndicate will hunt you relentlessly, Rake warned. Yes. Her golden eyes searched his, which is why you should leave now. Take the Wanderlust and return to your life. You've done enough. Instead of answering, Rake took her hand, weaving his fingers through hers. What if I don't want my old life back? The intensity of her gaze nearly overwhelmed him. What are you saying, Rake Madsen? I'm saying I accidentally bought a queen at an auction and it's the best mistake I've ever made. He stepped closer, I'm saying I want to see what happens next. Nihilith's free hand traced his jawline, a psychic current flowing between them, sharing emotions too complex for words. The path ahead will be dangerous. I didn't become a star merchant because I wanted safety, he countered with a smile. The ancient ship began to hum, responding to Nihilith's presence. Lights flickered to life along its hull as systems awakened after centuries of dormancy. There may be others of my kind in hidden enclaves, she said, hope coloring her voice. With the Star Weaver, we could find them, unite them. And take on the Syndicate? Rake raised an eyebrow. Perhaps. Her lips curved into a determined smile. But first I would travel the stars freely, with someone who sees me as more than a prize to be auctioned. As if in response, the Star Weaver extended a boarding ramp. Nihilith's hand remained firmly in Rake's as she faced him. Will you join me? Rake gazed at the magnificent ship, then back at the extraordinary woman before him, her purple skin luminous with power, her black hair swirling with energy, her golden eyes filled with invitation and promise. Your Majesty, he said with a mock bow and genuine smile, I believe our adventure is just beginning. Together, they ascended the ramp into the awakened vessel, leaving behind the auction that had accidentally brought them together. The Star Weaver rose majestically from its long slumber, casting off the dust of centuries as it carried the last queen of Zitari and the merchant who had unwittingly found her, not as property, but as partner, into a sky full of possibilities. The end.